Trinidad and Tobago had oil, lots of it. It had gas when others were dreaming about it. Yet today, this energy giant finds itself in a position so upside down, so ironic, it feels like fiction. Jamaica, a country with no known oil reserves, is now exporting refined petroleum to Trinidad. That's right. The nation once called the Gulf state of the Caribbean is now relying on its neighbor Jamaica to help fuel its economy. How did it come to this? This isn't just a story about one country's rise and fall. It's a warning, a mirror held up to Guyana, where the oil money is flowing fast, and to Jamaica, where dreams of black gold are being quietly drilled into offshore rock. Because the fall of Trinidad was not because of greed, it was because of comfort, poor planning, and a belief that the oil would never run out. But it did. The rise, from pitch lake to energy empire. The story began in the late 1800s, near La Brea's Pitch Lake, a sea of natural asphalt bubbling with possibility. By 1908, oil was being commercially produced. By 1930, the country was exporting over 10 million barrels a year. In the 1960s and 1970s, Trinidad was living large off-oil wealth. Then came natural gas. In the 1990s and 2000s, the country pivoted smartly, becoming one of the world's largest exporters of liquefied natural gas, LNG. Money poured in. Point leases blossomed into a powerhouse industrial estate. The government formed Petrotrin to manage its growing energy empire. Schools were funded, roads were paved. The Caribbean looked on in awe. Trinidad was winning, but it was also falling asleep. Dutch disease, the silent killer. With oil and gas booming, the rest of the economy was left behind. Many farmers stopped farming. Many manufacturers shut their doors. Why bother with hard work when oil could pay the bills? This is what economists call Dutch disease, when one booming industry kills everything else. The Trinidad dollar became overvalued. Local goods became too expensive to sell abroad. Imports flooded in. And when oil prices dropped, as they always do, Trinidad had nothing left to cushion the blow. Still, there was hope. Maybe better management could turn things around. But then came Petrotrin's collapse, and with it, a national unraveling. Petrotrin, from pride to pain. By 2018, Petrotrin was sinking in debt. It had racked up over 12 billion Trinidad and Tobago dollars in liabilities. Its massive refinery at Pointe-à-Pierre was barely operating, relying on imported crude and losing money every day. Projects meant to modernize the plant blew up in cost. Scandals erupted. Mismanagement became the norm. Eventually, the government pulled the plug. The refinery was shut down. 1,700 workers were laid off. For the first time in modern history, Trinidad became a net importer of fuel. Its foreign reserves took a hit. Citizens saw fuel prices rise. The ripple effects reached across every sector. And then came the twist no one expected. In 2025, Trinidad and Tobago, the once mighty oil king of the Caribbean, turned to Jamaica for help. Jamaica, a country with no known oil reserves, began shipping tens of thousands of barrels of refined fuel each month to Trinidad. Petrojam, Jamaica's modest state-owned refinery, stepped in to supply what Trinidad's shuttered Petrotrin could no longer produce. The deal was worth nearly $90 million. But the symbolism? Priceless. Trinidad, once the region's oil provider, had become its fuel customer. That's how deep the collapse went. That's how far the mighty had fallen. Let that sink in. If Trinidad, with over 100 years of oil dominance, can fall so hard that it needs fuel from Jamaica, What makes Guyana think it's immune? And what will Jamaica do differently if it strikes oil? Guyana, rich overnight, but for how long? In just 5 years, Guyana went from being one of the poorest countries in the hemisphere to the fastest-growing economy in the world. It now produces over 600,000 barrels of oil per day. It could hit 1.3 million by 2027. But with that wealth has come danger. Inflation is rising. Most of the oil profits go to big foreign companies, and critics warn that Guyana's institutions aren't ready for the speed and scale of change. There's also the deal. Guyana signed a production-sharing agreement that heavily favors Exxon and its partners. And while Guyana has set up a natural resource fund, watchdogs say it lacks full transparency. Some fear the money is already being used to patch budget holes, not build for the future. This is how disaster starts. Jamaica, oil dreams, and green ambitions. Jamaica hasn't struck oil yet, but hopes are high. A promising offshore basin, Walton Morant, has shown signs of crude. Drilling is on the horizon. Some estimates say billions of barrels might lie below the seabed. But Jamaica also has something Trinidad didn't, a national plan that pushes hard for renewable energy. Jamaica wants 50% of its electricity to come from clean sources by 2030. It has a solid development strategy in Vision 2030, and crucially, it still has time to prepare. The biggest danger for Jamaica is this: if oil is found, will it abandon its green dreams for fast cash? Or will it learn from Trinidad's pain and Guyana's pressure? 4 powerful takeaways. 1. Diversify early and fast. Trinidad waited too long. Guyana must invest in farming, tourism, and tech now. Jamaica must do the same, even before it finds oil. 2. Build strong institutions. Without watchdogs and smart regulation, corruption creeps in. Trinidad's Petrotrin collapsed under weak governance. Guyana is already feeling the pressure. Jamaica must prepare its laws, its courts, and its people. 3. Save like the oil will run out tomorrow. Because it might. Every dollar must be used with the future in mind. Sovereign wealth funds only work if they're managed with discipline, not politics. 4. Be honest with your people. Oil creates high expectations. But if leaders don't manage that hope wisely, disappointment turns into rage, and that breaks nations. Beyond the barrel. Trinidad's story isn't one of failure. It's one of the warnings. A nation that did everything right until it didn't. That grew rich until it forgot how to grow. Guyana, you're standing at the door Trinidad once walked through. Jamaica, you're walking toward it now. You have something Trinidad didn't, the gift of hindsight. Use it, because oil can make you rich, but only wisdom can keep you there. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe now to Impacting Jamaica. We're not done uncovering the truths the Caribbean needs to face together.